So today you are going to learn how a part-time real estate investor with a corporate 9-to-5 is making over $100,000 a year doing this part-time. So gonna really pick his brain, and you're gonna love today's episode. But before we jump in with Mark, who's our guest today, if you have not been over to NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com, you've got to download the script. And this is the very same script that I use to lock up deals with my team. And again, we've done over 1,300 transactions. The same script that I've used to train thousands of the most successful real estate investors across the country. So if you have not gone to NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com/script and downloaded that script, what are you waiting for? Got to do that today. So real excited for today's show. And today we have Mark, who is working a corporate 9-to-5. And so we actually surveyed our list and our list of listeners, and the majority of listeners, not everybody, we have a very successful listenership, right? But we have a big portion who are doing deals, who are still working. And then we have a big portion who are trying to scale their businesses. So the more successful that you go up the top, right, the smaller the numbers get. But Mark is actually in one of the bigger brackets, and that's people who have a job and who either want to make money who are making money. And so for someone making $100,000 a year, I had to have Mark on the show, and he was very transparent about him having a job and working his job and doing deals. And so, Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Todd.
So, Mark, tell us, what market are you in, and how did you get started?
So I am in a few markets. I am in the California market, specifically Northern California,
okay,
Bay Area, Silicon Valley. And then I have a market in Georgia, Tennessee, Memphis,
okay,
and Missouri.
Okay. So you're in 4 markets. Now, where do you live?
I live in Santa Clara, California.
Okay, so that's part of the Northern California. We just recorded a podcast episode about should I do deals in my market. So obviously you're in a red hot competitive market. So tell us, how did you get started? What made you want to start doing deals, Mark?
In a nutshell, I got started through ambition, desire, and a willingness to succeed. I've always wanted to be successful, and I didn't pursue traditional education, academic education. And so I started researching the best way to build wealth without a college degree, and real estate was the leading source. So I began to research investment strategies, and I read a book by Robert G. Allen, Nothing Down for the 2000s. And it was basically an investment strategies book, which was wholesaling in a sense. From there, YouTube Academy, read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and the rest is history. I've been wholesaling for nearly 3 years now, and now I'm having a conversation about real estate with you.
That's awesome. By the way, we have something in common. I don't know if you knew this, but actually Robert G. Allen's book, Multiple Streams of Income, is what got me started.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's another great one. By the way, if you I highly recommend that. It doesn't really get too much into the specifics. I think they talked about wholesaling once in the book. I think he talks about not a deal of his where someone had done a $250,000 assignment on a ski house. But
yes. And I should say Nothing Down for the 2000s. It's not a wholesaling book, but it does teach you tactics on how to purchase real estate with no money down,
right?
Which some people do relate to wholesaling. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome. So tell us, okay, you're working your job, right?
Yes.
What do you do for work, by the way?
So I work in a security operations center.
Okay.
And it is an IT position for access control.
Okay. So you're working a regular corporate 9-to-5. You read the book. You're inspired. How did you do your first deal? I mean, I'm dying to know number one, tell us the market that you targeted, right? How you found it, all the details, and then what was your strategy?
So my very first deal was in Morgan Hill, California. And the way I got it was once I really started learning about wholesaling, I took I did a 30-day challenge with Max Maxwell.
Okay.
And I didn't win that challenge, but within that challenge, his criteria was to drive for dollars every single day and to get 50 to 100 properties.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the Bay Area, the properties are a little different. And so I was really looking for distressed homes and I was very selective. Long story short, after that 30-day challenge, I had about 150 to 200 distressed properties in my list. And I started to cold call them. And I found a property in Morgan Hill, California. And that was my first deal. So
Okay.
it was basically, I'm sorry, go ahead, Todd.
Okay. So you're working your job, right? So how are
Yes.
you finding time to drive for dollars? I mean, what did this look like? Because a lot of people have excuses like, I don't have time to do this. I've got a full-time job.
Yeah. So I work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And after that, literally, I would just drive around my local neighborhood and find all the possible properties I could. On the weekends, I would wake up, have a cup of coffee, and do my driving for dollars.
Okay.
So,
So you got the property, you're driving for dollars. And by the way, if you're listening to this, I highly recommend that you download the Deal Machine app. If you want to go check that out,
yes,
yeah, you
for sure.
go to no limits real estate investing.com/drive. No limits real estate investing.com/drive. I just did a couple episodes ago and talked about how I did a $16,000 deal. It's like one of the easiest deals I've ever done. And obviously, you hear Mark just did that. So if you sign up for that link, you get a free month. You also get free credits where you could actually mail postcards to these people. If you don't know what driving for dollars is, again, you just drive around, look for vacant properties. You have the app on your phone. You put the information in, pops up, gives the owner's information. You could also send them a postcard, and boom, you're on the phone with a motivated seller. So again, go to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/drive to check that out. But Mark, going back to what you were saying, so
Yes.
you use the app to get the deal.
Yes.
Okay. So did you cold call them? Did you cold call them right there when you got home? Did you send them a postcard? How'd you get the seller on the phone?
Yeah. See, back then, and that was my first year. My first deal was about 2 years ago.
Right.
And so I didn't have a triple line dialer. I wasn't using Zen-Call or Batch Dial or
Yeah.
Mojo or any of those. Um, what I was using is literally I wouldn't even skip trace it. I would skip trace it through white pages and then
Okay.
I would dial it individually through my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I mean, I remember sending out my first 36 letters. The envelopes were
Yeah.
too small for the paper, right? I hand licked all the stamps, right? I sat over the letters and I prayed that one person would call, right? Hey, one person did, right? And I had to actually go down to the county myself and pull the list. So you were right where I was, Mark. That is just so
Right.
exciting. Okay, so you got the deal. Did you get it under contract? Did you wholesale it? What happened?
Yeah, I wholesaled it. So basically the situation it was so the deal was in Morgan Hill, California.
Yeah.
And it was elderly couple and the property had been vacant for 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the family lived about 30 minutes away from the area. And the circumstance for it is when the granddaughter was going to graduate from college, they were going to provide her with the property. But the house was very outdated. It probably needed anywhere from 100 to 150,000 in renovation. And so when I called, they were already ready to sell. And it's funny because they had a friend who was a real estate slash fix and flip type of friend who was actually going to purchase the property. And so originally they were going to give it to him, and I was second in line. And so I waited about 2 to 3 weeks. And then eventually, for some reason, he had dropped out, wasn't going to be able to move forward on the property. And then that allowed me to go meet them face to face and just have that initial introduction. And then from there, I was able to get the property under contract.
Okay, so did you wholesale it? Did you fix it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
wholesaled it.
how much did you make?
My first one was for 55,000.
Oh, that's a juicy
Yeah,
one.
it
A
was
50
it was very
banger.
nice. Yes,
So that is great. So okay, you got your check, you got the wire, or was it a wire or a check, by the way?
it was a check.
All right. So I mean, how did you feel when you had this thing?
I was very skeptical. I was very skeptical about wholesaling when I was first learning about it. I
Yeah.
was like, there's no way you could just out of thin air purchase someone's house under contract and do this thing called an assignment and make these crazy paychecks.
Yeah.
But once it happened, it was life changing for me. And from there, I really started to take it serious. Found out about you through Brent Daniels.
Okay.
So I took the TTP mentorship. And from there, I've been really focusing on developing the business. So it's been
Awesome.
wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people be like, oh, well, that was so easy. But I think one of the things people don't realize is like, well, of course, getting the contract signed and flipping it,
Mhm.
like that's the easy part, right? But all of the hours that you sacrifice after work and on Saturdays,
Yes.
right? And then listening, right? Like if you add all those hours up, that was work. It was an investment. There were seeds that you had to plant, right? And then everyone's looking at the harvest and they're like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. You did nothing. No, you did everything, right? That is
Yes.
just so awesome, Mark. So congratulations, man. I
Thank you.
love it. 50,000, your first one, you're trained right. So tell us a little bit about what your business looks like today and,
Okay.
your team and you, and I'll ask another question after that.
Sure. So right now I have a small team. I have 3 VAs now making cold calls. They're each calling 4 hours a day, 20
Mhm.
hours a week. I have an acquisitions manager and dispositions,
Okay.
and it's that small.
Awesome. So, what are your plans? I mean, are you going to keep working your job? Are you going to quit? You're going to keep doing deals and go up the ranks in your job? What are your plans?
You know what? The goal is to, yes, go full time in real estate. I'm starting to build my own portfolio now.
Hmm.
So I'm looking to do some creative financing, taking down my own properties, and I'm doing my first fix and flip come the beginning of April. So in a couple days, I got a property in Tennessee closing April 11th. But yes, my plan is to continue to ramp up. I'm looking to expand to about 5 to 10 VAs. I'm in the process of actually hiring a VA right now. I have someone training, and I do plan this year to kind of the big leap, make that jump and go into real estate full time.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited. We got to do a follow up after you quit your job.
Definitely.
I just love your tenacity here. Okay, so this is one of my favorite questions. Tell us a moment during this process where, or maybe you didn't experience, maybe it was a setback or a mental challenge where maybe, it's like your low point, or maybe you felt like quitting but you just pushed forward.
So going back to my first deal, um, it took me it took me a year to get my first deal.
Okay.
And so, when you hear the 50,000 and the first paycheck, it sounds wonderful, but when I first got into it, I didn't know what I was doing. Um, there was a lot of points where it was discouraging because when I'm talking to people, I didn't really understand how to have a conversation, a real conversation on purchasing someone's property. I knew nothing about real estate before getting into this. So literally it was just Robert G. Allen, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Hmm.
jumping into the real estate game, but really not understanding anything about real estate.
Right.
Um, and so my apologies, I just kind of diverted. What was the question one more time, Todd?
No, I mean, we talked about your low point, right? And I think it
Oh,
sounds like
yes.
you were going a year without a deal, right? Just in this
Yes.
business before you hit that. So, I mean, I don't want to take the words out of your mouth, but it sounds like, there are probably many moments where you're thinking about quitting and not having mentors or guidance. but you just kept moving forward. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, but just to kind of reiterate too, the low points is it is going through the process of having no said to your face, being hung up on you, and just that discouraging point of, am I ever going to get a deal?
Right.
But then eventually, as you just continue to push forward, that one deal does come. And as Max Maxwell always said, you're one deal away. And that 50,000 transpired me into a new mindset.
Oh,
So,
well, that's awesome. So I'll close with this. You are a no limit selling system customer. So tell us, what's your favorite technique? And maybe you can describe how you used it. If you feel like, if not, you can just pass.
yeah, sure. You know what? There's a few of them. Again, when the biggest thing for me, and the reason why I purchased the no limit sales systems, is because I realized that when I was having conversations with sellers, it was very difficult for me to close and kind of push the sale forward, right? Unless you have someone that's very, very motivated, which
Mm-hmm.
luckily I did. Um, you have to have some sort of sales process to be able to gather additional information and to be able to close a deal. So for me, the two strategies I like from the no limit sales systems is, as basic as it is, redirecting questions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your favorites, which is one of my favorites, is the boomerang.
Mm.
And so, you know, just as simple as, if you ask someone, how much are you looking for the property?
Right.
And they say, well, I don't know, give me whatever the right price may be, and you come back and, well, what is the right price? Just simple redirecting questions that allow you to push forward the conversation, and most importantly, just to have it structured and organized for you to be in a professional point of view, where people can trust that you know what you're doing.
Right. Well, man, this was a great interview. I'm so excited for you. Big giant, fat, juicy deal. After a year doing this business part-time, now has a team and will probably quit his job sometime in the next 12 months. Also a customer of the No Limit Selling System. Got to brag about that. But just so excited for you, Mark. Can't wait to hear about your next phase in your portfolio. So congratulations.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that.
If you're listening to this, head on over to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/script. I know Mark talked about the Deal Machine app. So if you want to know more about that and get a free month plus some free credits to do some mail and skip tracing, go to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/drive and look out for the next episode. Talk to you soon.